So this video I've been thinking of making for a while, and after a quick scan over YouTube, it looks like I am far from the only person that has thought to do this. Now, this does not stop me from wanting to voice my own opinions on the matter, and I haven't watched any of the other videos, so if these thoughts have been expressed before, originality is overrated anyway, so let's get to it. Before I even get started though, I would like to say that I thought Fury Road was fan-fucking-tastic. It is far and away, I mean, even going into it, I'm an Australian, I've been a fan of Mad Max since I was a kid, especially number 2. Fantastic movie number 2, The Road Warrior. Yeah, no, going in, I was so fucking excited. I haven't been this excited to see a new movie since The Wolf of Wall Street, and it did not disappoint me. Awesome action, great fucking performances, great visual storytelling, great rewatchability. It was a movie that knew what it wanted to be through and through, you know. Like a movie like Die Hard, you know, it's not the smartest movie ever made, although Fury Road wasn't a stupid movie, but it knows what it wants to be. You know, Die Hard, a guy in a building saves the day, whatever, doesn't derail itself, doesn't try and be pretentious at all, it just is what it is, and Fury Road, fantastic. Now, what I wanted to address, I did read this article a while ago that just says, boycott Fury Road. Now, I want to address this article in particular, more the attitudes that this article conveys, and, you know, the idea of boycotting the film and why you would want to boycott it. Now, first and foremost, this article accused Fury Road of being feminist propaganda, you know, propaganda. Now, while I personally wouldn't evoke the word propaganda for this film, you know, yes, there were certainly some feminist themes in the film that were encoded. I mean, is it the only film ever to encode any meaning in there? Films do that all the fucking time, you know. An action film that appears to just be a straight-out action film, horror films especially do this, is really about something else. That doesn't make it subliminal, that doesn't make it propaganda, that just makes it filmmaking, it's standard. Yes, there is certainly a feminist message in Fury Road, there is certainly some underlying theme in there. I mean, fuck, think about it, you know, some women who are sex slaves run away from a patriarchy only to go back and conquer it at the end of the day. Yes, it's feminist, and there's a few little lines in there as well that go towards it. Now, firstly, I would like to talk about the way the feminism in the film is communicated and why I really like the way it's communicated. I think the portrayal of women being as powerful and empowered as men is fine, great, especially in action films. I mean, have we forgotten about Alien, Aliens, Terminator 2, whatever else? How often has this been done and how often has it worked out really, really fucking well? What I really like about the way Fury Road portrays it is it's so matter-of-factly about it. It's not... The film never stops and winks to, you know, isn't Furiosa as competent as Mad Max, you know? It just is. Max was not emasculated by her grabbing the gun off him, or just lightly grabbing the gun and shooting, because she was a better shooter than him, and she just was. They had that fight, it was very fucking close, you know, maybe even Furiosa got the upper hand for most of it. No one pissed or moaned about that later on either, it just was. She just was a very strong fucking character. And in that world, I didn't have to suspend my disbelief that much for that, you know, it was be that strong or die, and she was that strong. So I guess this draws me to my next point. Is that really propaganda? Is that sort of a message, and I'll get to some of the other messages in the film, is that really propaganda that threatens your way of looking at the world? The idea that a woman could be as strong as a man, does that upset your status quo that much? Does that make you want to boycott a movie because of that? And, you know, these criticisms, they certainly say more about whoever levels them at the film than they do about the film itself. You know, I recall that line, you know, no one orders Mad Max around. Really, bitch? I mean, firstly, you know, do you own the character of Mad Max? Like, come the fuck on. Come on. And he always has been a part of other stories, you know, that was the case in the second 2 movies, and that's the case here. He is just a rogue who happens to be the title of the film that is taking part unwittingly in a story bigger than himself. It's the 3rd time these films have done this. You know, only the first film was really about Mad Max. So my question is to anyone that would call this film propaganda, is what is this film saying that you have a huge problem with? What is the really aggressive message it's putting forward that you can't live with, that's threatening the way you look at things, that's making you want to boycott the movie. It does. Patriarchies like the one in Fury Road do exist in the world. I won't say they're so common in the Western world at all. I mean, I'm sure it happens, but it is probably more of a third world thing, but they do exist. Women are forced into sexual slavery. And the film making the point that that's bad, that women aren't there for men's pleasure, that they're not just breeding machines, if you seriously have a fucking problem with that point, and you're going to actually, speak up about this problem, this is saying more about you than the film. You are not educating anyone. You are just revealing shit about yourself. That's what you're educating people on. Your own attitudes. And, what film are you proposing it should be? What are you proposing here? That every woman is a damsel in distress to be saved by Stallone or Arnie? I mean, there's a place for those hyper-masculine films as well. Like, I'm not going to complain about Predator or Commando, but they're trash. They're not... That is not a representation of the real world. I mean, neither is Fury Road, but still, does every film have to be like that? Does every strong male character have to be like that? Personally, I think if the character of Max gave a single fuck about women being stronger than him at all in that film, which obviously he didn't, he didn't give that many fucks overall, he'd be much weaker. I think you guys that give a fuck about this sort of thing are weak. You're not hyper-masculine, you're not fucking strong. Pick your fights, come on. And I'm not saying that everything feminists have ever said or done is right, that there aren't some extreme views out there that I would not necessarily agree with, but this movie's point that women can be empowered or that an aggressive patriarchy like that is wrong, is a bad thing or propaganda, that is absurd. I mean, god damn it. There's reasons to boycott films, maybe. Films shouldn't... If a film says something genuinely hateful, or what have you, you can call for a mass boycott, and you can call for a mass boycott of Fury Road, but I guess I feel like I've made my point that, yes, I would agree there are feminist undertones in there, but if that, A, threatens your masculinity, or B, really detracts from the film, then you're a fucking pussy. That's all I'm gonna say. Just... Oh, God. Upload over, I guess. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'll occasionally riff on films, Game of Thrones, what have you. Talk soon.